I hope you're having a great Saturday morning. Well, today I want to talk about this one word, one lifestyle change that if we make it, we can see some amount of achievement, some amount of success. Look at your life right now, look at your career, look at the health of your relationships, look at your health. Look at your health goals. Are you struggling to lose weight and moving from one fad diet to another, chasing weight loss pills, chasing, crazy ways to lose weight? Look at the success of your relationships, your career, whatever it is. Are you happy and successful? And if the answer is no, there is one gap that most human beings lack in, and that gap is called self-discipline. We have all the excuses, and when we introspect our life, okay, it's not a bad thing, but introspect. And if you find you have more and more excuses, it only means one thing, that you lack self-discipline. More excuses means you lack self-discipline, because life is always going to throw us obstacles and challenges and all of that stuff. We either use our self-discipline to plow right through that, or we have all the excuses in the world, all the complaints, all the blame games, and everything happening. But we need to understand, most of us don't do the things that we need to do to feel happy and feel successful. Look at it. We all know what it takes to be healthy. We all know what it takes to lose weight. We know which foods we should eat. We know which foods we shouldn't eat. We know the importance of sleep. We all know how stress impacts our system. We all know that certain behaviors can destroy relationships. We all know that certain behaviors at work will not allow us to grow to the next level. But yet, we don't do it. Why? Because we lack self-discipline. We have the knowledge, but we lack self-discipline. All the knowledge in the world, all your degrees, all your qualifications, all your hours of experience, all the number of hours that you put into work is useless if you do not have self-discipline. Knowledge becomes power when it is used and organized. To use knowledge and organize knowledge, again, you need self-discipline. We have Google, we have all the information in the world. You can YouTube a video to make or do anything that you want on this planet today, okay? But everyone doesn't use it the right way, everyone doesn't organize it the right way because we lack self-discipline. We take in more and more information. We read spiritual books, we read self-help books, we have mentors, we do all of that stuff, great. But if you don't execute and you don't implement, nothing of that is worth it. And for that, you need self-discipline. Lack of self-discipline is the reason we fail in achieving all of our goals, including our health goals. Now, we need to understand, I like this definition by Mr. Albert Hubbard of what self-discipline is. The ability to do what you have to do, when you have to do it, whether you like to do it or whether you don't like to do it. That is self-discipline, the ingredient for success. When you look at any successful business, people who have achieved their health goals, athletes who have won medals, whatever it is, they have the same access to the food that you eat. You have the same access to workouts, trainers, and everything. But the one differentiating factor is self-discipline. Success in life comes from the things that you do every day, the same way, every single day. The actions that you take to be successful on a consistent basis requires you to have self-discipline. So we have so many people who work out for 2 or 3 days, or they eat well for 2 or 3 days, and then they fall off target, and then they come back on target, and they wonder how they don't lose weight or how they don't get healthier, because they lack self-discipline to do the things that are required for success on a consistent basis every single day. You wake up in the morning and you brush your teeth every day because you have a discipline towards doing that. You prioritize it. Most of us have to go to work, we go to work. Why? We won't miss it because we prioritize it. So if you prioritize your exercise, if you prioritize healthy eating, if you prioritize your meditation, if you prioritize the things that you want to achieve in life, guess what? It automatically starts becoming a habit, which you use self-discipline to make it a habit in your life. So most of us have our priorities wrong. We take life for granted, we take our health for granted, and that's why it's pushed down our list of the top things that we need to do. But if you miss work, you're probably going to be fired. You know that if you don't spend enough of time in your business is not going to do well. So you prioritize it because there's something to gain from it. Because you prioritize it, you have the routine habit of waking up, brushing your teeth, maybe eating something and going to work every single day. Now imagine if you prioritized your health the same way. So success in life comes from the actions that you take on a consistent basis every day. That requires self-discipline. Now, how do you develop self-discipline? You see, go back to the olden days in school. Teachers, parents try to teach their children discipline. You can prepare your children with all the tuitions in the world, all the fancy education and all of that stuff. But if they lack self-discipline, they will not achieve. And how do we know that? Simple example. In X amount of students pass out of the top universities, be it Stanford, Harvard, Yale, or whatever it is. Say 100 people pass out of that same batch. We should have 100 equally successful people. They all got the same knowledge from the same faculty, from the same mentors, and the same knowledge. But there will be only a few successful people with the same degree, because the differentiator is self-discipline. Self-discipline is what will give you that edge to move ahead, to achieve your goals and achieve everything, be it from sickness, healing, prevention, or whatever it is. Now, number one is you need to make it a priority. Number two, you need to plan and organize your day. Self-discipline. You can't have self-discipline if you wake up in the morning without a plan, without having your day organized. But if you use that 1 hour or that 30 minutes or that 15 minutes in the morning to plan your day, so on a piece of paper or your iPad or whatever it is, you are able to write down and slot in time for your workout, time for your meals, time for good food, time for your sleep, time for your meditation, time to spend time with your family and loved ones. You write this down. You plan it into your day. If you have not planned it into your day, it will not happen. And that's what makes us more stressed and anxious, because somewhere in our mind, we know we have to do it, but we've not planned it, and we're just responding to life and everything that life is throwing up to us in that day. So we don't end up doing these things, and that's why we need self-discipline. Self-discipline starts with planning. You have a plan first. You know your goals. The second part of self-discipline is your goal. Most people do not know what they want in life. When you ask them, or you ask yourself, you get the common stuff. I want a good job, I want money, I want to travel, I need to have a good family, I need to have kids, and that's it. That's not your life goal. That's your short-term goal. People don't know what they want in life. And if you don't know what your life goal is, what you truly want that gives you meaning in your life, you will lack self-discipline, because there's nothing to work towards. But when you have, like, for example, I need that perfect body within 6 months. That's a goal. You work towards it. You do everything. You use self-discipline and everything because you have that goal set in your mind. So when you know your life goal, what your purpose is, over and above your family responsibilities and your duties, a lot of us mix up our duties in life with our life goals and what we want. When you know that, you will automatically develop self-discipline. So when you're starting a new company or a startup or whatever, if you don't have your vision and your goal in mind, you're going to be all over the place and you're going to lack self-discipline. But when you have your goal in mind and it is like in stone in your head, you will use self-discipline to achieve it, which means the third part of self-discipline is to remove obstacles that put you off your path. So, for example, you're trying to lose weight, but you're hanging around with the same friends every weekend who says, oh, forget about it, come on, have another drink, eat this, nothing's going to happen, you can work it out next week. You got to remove those obstacles from your life. I'm not saying they're not your friends, but if you are disciplined, that requires self-discipline. If someone is trying to get you off your goal, for example, you're sick, your friends know you have a kidney problem or a liver problem or a health problem, but yet they encourage you to drink and they say, oh, come on, one drink's not going to cause a problem, or eat this is not going to cause a problem for you. These are people who will derail you from your goal. And now you can't blame them. You need to blame yourself and have self-discipline. So if you're having issues with your sleep, but yet you still keep depriving yourself of sleep because you need to, satisfy other people's social calendars, you lack self-discipline. That requires self-discipline. So if you know your goal and you are so attached to your goal, even if it requires that you got to sacrifice one weekend or 2 weekends because it'll get you closer to your goal, you do it. And that's what self-discipline is about. Because if you don't have that self-discipline, you move into a very, very common negative spiral called complaining and blaming. People who don't have self-discipline constantly find ways to complain and blame, and you get yourself into a negative spiral that is bad for your health, bad for your mental health, bad for your emotional health. And guess what? Blaming and complaining does not solve anyone's problems. not yours, not that person. So the whole idea is you need to understand no matter what your goals are in life, health, career, relationship, or whatever it is, no matter what your goal is, remember this one thing in life: no one is responsible for your health, your success, your fame, your wealth, your career goals, or anything. No one is. You are responsible. Please understand this. You are responsible. From the time you're a young adult and the time you start making choices, from the time you are allowed to start making choices, you are responsible for the consequences of your choice. So if you choose to eat healthy or unhealthy, you are responsible for that choice, the consequence. You can choose to sleep or be sleep deprived. You make the choice. You are responsible for that consequence. You choose to invest in prevention, or you just choose like, oh, I'll get sick, I have a health insurance. You've made that choice. You be responsible for that consequence. Okay? You choose to not exercise and be sedentary and all of that stuff just because everyone's chilling and all of that stuff. You made that choice. Don't blame your friends. You made that choice. You are responsible for that consequence. When we understand responsibility for our choices and consequences, then we have self-discipline. But if you don't have self-discipline, guess what? You're going to blame everyone around you. It's so funny how sick people, or people who are struggling to lose weight, have everyone to blame around them. Okay, but they're responsible for their own choices. They're responsible for their own choices. And I'll give you an example. People come to us, a lot of people pay to be on programs or whatever it is. But they think because they've paid, okay, that they've also they have that ability to transfer blame to that person. But you are still responsible for what you do because you're making the choices. No one else is making the choices for you. So self-discipline, the number one thing is stop blaming and stop complaining. You get onto Twitter and all of these handles, you'll find two things that stare you in the face. People are only judging, people are only complaining. Use social media for uplifting yourself, gaining knowledge, not to see the world judge one another, pull people down, constantly criticize, constantly complain. These are shallow people who get attention from doing it. But if you get sucked into that spiral of negativity, you're getting into that same habit of complaining, judging, criticizing. Does it change you as a person? No. Does it change the other person? No. Has it added value to the world or your life? Absolutely no. So don't even waste a second of your super precious life involving yourself in this terrible, terrible thing of complaining and blaming. So when it comes back to self-discipline, what you need to understand is you want a better life, you want better health, you got to make better decisions. As simple as that. You can be the wealthiest person in the world, you can be with the most contacts politically, wherever it is, but you are responsible for the choices and decisions that you make. Now, what else I want to tell you about is you can continue blaming and complaining about people. It's not going to change that person, and it's not going to change you or the problem. So stop complaining and blaming. Self-discipline is not punishment. People think, oh, discipline means I got to punish myself. No, you don't have to punish yourself. You can allow yourself rewards. You can celebrate achievements. You can do all of these things. You can fall off the bandwagon, but get back up the next day. That is what self-discipline is. Fine, for the next 3 days, I don't feel like working out. I just want to relax. Do it. Your body's asking you for that. But on the fourth day, you get back up on your feet and you start your exercise and you start eating. You go on a holiday, you've binged and you've eaten all of that stuff. That's fine. Come back from your holiday and get back on track. That is self-discipline. Discipline is not punishment. Remove temptation. People are like, oh, I don't want to eat chocolate, I don't want to eat cake, I don't want to have all of that stuff. But your fridge at home is full of that. You got temptation at home. You will have temptation around. When there's temptation around, we're constantly struggling. Self-discipline. Remove all those chocolates out of your fridge if that's causing you a problem. Remove all of the junk food out of your home if that's causing a problem. That is self-discipline. If we practice self-discipline, that is your key to success. Okay? It is not your degree alone. It is not your education alone. It is not how much experience you have or how much of wealth you have in your bank account. Because we all know that there are people who are dropouts of schools who are super successful today. Okay, we all know that there are people who have rags to riches stories. The differentiating factor is self-discipline. You are responsible for your health. Stop blaming the world. Stop complaining to people. And when we complain and blame, we feel better about ourselves because we've been able to shift responsibility, personal responsibility onto someone else. It's not solved your problem, it's just made you weaker. And this whole thing about self-love today, I love myself, love yourself, love yourself. Most people have got the wrong understanding of that. It's making them selfish. It's making them very, very, very selfish. Loving yourself or self-love is not about being selfish and putting yourself first in that aspect or that term. If you love yourself, you discipline yourself. You discipline yourself so that your choices don't harm you, they don't hurt you, and they don't disrespect you. That is what self-love is. It's not about being selfish and putting yourself first in an egoistic way. I'll repeat that. If you love yourself, you discipline yourself so that you don't hurt yourself, you don't harm yourself, and you don't disrespect yourself. That is the best way of self-love. It is self-love, self-respect, and self-discipline. That is how it works. So this is the missing ingredient. Stop searching for weight loss drugs, weight loss pills, quick fixes, all of those things. Any quick fix you get will have a side effect, period. You may be sick right now. You may have a cancer right now. You may have diabetes right now. No matter what the doctors tell you, nutritionists or anyone in the medical world tells you, there is one key differentiating factor that will change your life, and that is self-discipline. Self-discipline. You have to decide what you need to change in your life and make those right choices for you. A lot of sick people transfer that responsibility onto their doctors. I'm sick, fix me. And they go back to a lifestyle which they don't change. Are you going to get fixed? And when you don't get fixed, you want to blame your doctor, you want to blame your medicine and everyone else. It is still you who's left with the problem. This is what self-discipline is, and I cannot tell you, this is the most important ingredient in health. You can have the best nutrition, sleep, everything's available to us. But we need self-discipline to organize our lives and to feel better. Self-discipline, look at animals, look at nature. Self-discipline, they wake up at a particular time, sleep at a particular time, they do their functions in a disciplined manner. We have great technology, but technology has robbed us of our soul and robbed us of discipline. Leverage technology, it can make our lives beautiful, it can help us cure diseases, it can add a lot of comfort to our life. Leverage it the right way. People have discipline, have technology, but they've lost mindfulness. If you need your phone to remind you when to drink water, or your phone to tell you what's happening in your body, you're not mindful. You need self-discipline. You don't need a gadget to tell you how you feel. You don't need a gadget to tell you what's going to happen to you. You don't need a gadget to tell you when to drink and when to eat. Your body's telling you that automatically. That is called self-discipline. You have mindfulness and self-discipline, and you will achieve any goal, mostly any goal that you have in life. Self-discipline. Have a great weekend, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.